Hello everyone, and welcome to another session at NestGen 2024. Maybe before we begin, let's start engaging with our audience. So maybe we can start talking about or tell us about how have you liked these other sessions at NestGen, and do show us some love at the NestGen Wall of Love. So, and also maybe you can let us know your thoughts in the chat box. It will help us curate better sessions for you in the upcoming edition of NestGen. So before we begin this session, let me ask you a question. How many of you over here are joining us at NestGen from cities with the active ports? So maybe let's take a 5 minutes pause and let's see where our audience are coming from, David. Okay. Hey, hello Tango. Hi Rohan. Okay. Okay. Hi Nigel from. Okay, let's start. I think yeah, people are still joining. Let's begin. So, seems it's multiple folks from the audience here today who obviously want to learn regarding the ports, how we are solving those problems with the port cities. And well, then it seems like this was quite an interesting session for you. Let me just wait a couple of minutes more. Hey, hi Mike. Hi Jason. Right, let's begin. So I believe everyone might have seen the session's topic, but let me just quickly introduce the topic, what we are going to talk about. So today we will be talking about how the process of monitoring and inspecting ports with large containers is being automated to help quickly detect piles and provide valuable data such as surface, height, and volumes of each pile with just a click. So please welcome our speaker for today's exciting and informative session, David Ferre, the CTO of Octocam Maps. Being, a, being an industrial engineer, David found Octocam Vision in 2011 during his third year of college, providing a wide variety of close range of aerial services all around the Europe. And they have worked on renowned companies in such as Netflix, Marvel Studios, and HBO Max, among others. Isn't it exciting? So after several years specializing in field data collection, David found Octocam Maps working with drones, LiDAR technologies for terrestrial and aerial mapping and topography. And then an exciting fact, they have inspected 15,000 wind turbines all around the Europe and mapped thousands of hectares. Isn't let's maybe everyone obviously would be excited to hear from David. So get ready, grab your favorite cup of mocha because we are about to begin in the next few minutes, right? So, but before we begin, I just want to have a couple of housekeeping rules so that we can have a better session and we can get most out of it, right? So please feel free to type in any question that you might have during the session in the Q&A chat box. They will be answered at the end at the end of the session. The session is getting recorded. The session is getting recorded and will be published soon. We will also have Octocam booth in the expo session. Please make sure to visit it and during the networking and booth visits. And obviously, David will be there to answer your queries and solve the challenges that you are facing. Right. Finally, please remember to capture your favorite moments of the session and share them on the Twitter, LinkedIn by using a hashtag NestGen. And a few lucky winner or people who share might have a surprise in store. And there will be an ongoing polls during the session. Make sure you participate, and it would be great if you guys participate, and we'll get to know more about our audience today. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank our title sponsor, DJI, and our gold sponsors, Sunflower Labs, for their invaluable support during NestGen 24. And with that, I would like to share the deck to David. And David, the stage is yours, all yours.
Thank you, Vinayak. I'll start sharing my screen.
Yes.
Please let me know if you can see that.
Yes, David, I can see that screen.
Okay, great. So thanks for the introduction, Vinayak. I'm David Ferreira, and today I'm going to be talking about improving port logistics with automated pile and volumetric analysis. So as Vinayak said, I studied industrial engineering. But my background is more into business related with drones. I started my first drone company in 2011. It was called Octocam Vision, and a few years later, in 2015, we started with Octocam Maps. Actually, with Octocam Maps, we offer services, drone services, and we are starting with software development. So in terms of services, we work, as Vinayak said, a lot in the wind and solar inspections, and we also provide a lot of mapping services with lidars. We are not that experienced with software. We started our first software 2 years ago. It was called Recloud. It is still running. And what we do is we compare BIM models for construction with point clouds. Then about a year ago, we started developing Amelia, which was from an R&D project that we won from a steel company that we will talk now. So let's begin. How did we start Amelia project? So about a year ago, a steel company from Spain came to us as they were facing lack of stock control in their open space storage facilities. Here you can see some pictures of how the company looked like. Imagine like a huge company in which they have a lot of raw material in open spaces. A truck came in with all the stock on it, and they weight that truck, but still they are moving inside their facilities the stockpiles. So they were facing a huge problem, and they wanted someone to try to solve this problem for them. So they came to us and they say, "Hey guys, can you please try to see if you can manage any kind of solution using drones?" And we said, "Okay, let's think about it." So how did we solve this problem? First of all, we used a standard drone technology to get detailed photogrammetry of their open storage areas. And then we developed a software, which was the first version of Amelia, that was autonomously detecting piles and providing valuable data such as surface, height, and volumes of all of those piles. So that's something that you can already do with some softwares, but it's not autonomous. You need to select that manually, and it's usually a tough process. So we wanted to make it very, very simple. This is how the first version of the software looked like a year and a half ago. Here you can see a white line. That's the region of interest, and then you get those pile detections with all that data. So how is the steel company using this technology? First of all, what we did, it was training their employees to fly drones. So they were not at all experienced with any drone technology. So we acquired their first UAV for them. It was actually a Mavic, no, a DJI Mavic Phantom 4 RTK, if I'm not wrong. We made them become EASA drone operators just to fly in their facilities. So right now, what they're doing mainly is flying more or less every 2 weeks, something like this. So they use our software to get fast and precise data. So with this solution right now, the company became totally autonomous. So they are not dependent on third companies to fly drones. That's a really step forward for them. They have improved a lot their control over stockpiles, and they have reduced costs and timing. So just to understand you a little bit more, the audience, I would like to know if you guys are using any drone in a box systems. If you are, just you can click it on A. If you're not, but you're considering that it's purchased to improve your operations, you can click B. If you think that it will never improve your operations, you can hit C. And if you don't know this about this technology.
Right, David. So the polls are live, audiences, right? You can head to those sessions polls tab. Uh, maybe we can, we'll wait, maybe David, for a couple of seconds, and then let's see. Okay. Let's see. And the results are quite interesting, David.
Okay. Okay. So we see that almost, yeah, you're considering its purchase mainly to improve your operations, and some of them are already using it. Great. So regarding Drone box systems, we are right now, after this first software version that we did, we started working with Drone box systems. We did a quick overview and understanding which were the top players in the industry. We realized Flight Now, Flightbase were doing a great job. We also found Heisha. I personally went to Shenzhen to meet them, and we finally decided to start working with the D80. So right now, the equipment that we have is a Heisha D80 with a DJI Mavic 3T and 3E and flight-based software. We are using this technology, but not in a repetitive way, because we are facing a lot of legal problems, at least here in Spain, Europe general. So that's the second poll I'd like to ask you. So for those of you that you are using or pretending to use drone box systems, what is your main challenge? If it is regulation, data analysis, technical problems, or others?
Now let's, again, the polls are live, guys. Uh, let's wait again for a couple of seconds and let's see. Maybe David, I would also like to vote this time, and obviously would want to hear from you more on that.
Yeah, I agree. Always with regulation. I think
Yes.
I think everyone agrees with that. Regulation is a huge thing, and also data analysis, which I think it's very interesting too. That's what's our goal. Our mission is to make everything full autonomous. So I mean, drone and box systems allow us to automate that, but the data analysis is not that automated. So that's what we want to do with Amelia.
Right.
Okay, so let's continue. So how did we evolve? So after, let's say, the success of the first version of Amelia in that still company, we started developing Amelia, but in let's say a little bit more good looking and easy to use, willing to offer a commercial version of for end users. So let's say that our business model is a software as a service, and you can pay for using the software monthly. So our first customers were expected, as we said, to be mining and steel companies, but we found interest in another sector, which was sports. So at least in Spain sports, bulk solid minerals terminals are very, very common. So we discovered that ports used to invoice concessionary companies daily for the space used. So of course, this is a very, let's say, slow, inaccurate, and also quite expensive process, and it takes a lot of time for them to do this thing. So we said, okay, with Amelia, we have that thing, let's say, solved quite easily, and we can talk with ports to see if we can start working with them. So I'm going to show you a little bit more how does this Amelia software look like. This is the last version, which is kind of more good looking than the first one we shown. You first just log in with your email and password, and then you access that general information where you already have a map, and you have those different areas that you have been flying. Once you hit one of those areas, you can go a little bit more precise. This is the port of Tarragona. It's a port located 100 kilometers south of Barcelona. It's one of the important ports in the Mediterranean Sea and Spain. And So, well, here you can see different spaces where you can fly, or you have been flying with Amelia. So actually, the software itself is very, very simple. You can create a flight. You just filter by data, and then you upload those pictures that you did with your drone. You can upload if you use the drone in a box systems, or if you are flying just a manual drone with standard photogrammetry. So once you upload that data, the software itself creates a 3D with a photogrammetry, and then you just need to hit or create what we call a ROI, which is a region of interest. That's the white line, and then the software autonomously detects those files that are inside that region of interest. So when you hit those files, you get the information in terms of area, volume, and height. Okay, so regarding the algorithm, we developed our own volume analysis algorithm. So of course, we thought that what we did was great, but we need to make sure that what we were doing was okay. So we used ground-based scanners for comparing results. I don't know if you're used to that, but this is a pretty standard technology that is being used mainly in engineering companies. It's a very, very, very precise scanner. We actually own a Leica RTC 360 because we are quite used to do lots of services with this in Spain in our company. So we profit that we had that technology to scan those files that we've flown also with the drone, and then we compared the results with the Leica, which is extremely precise, around 2 millimeter. So we finally tested and saw that the average precision of Amelia with drones and photogrammetry was around a 5%, which is quite reasonable. So that's how we did it. Here you can see a capture of how the software looks like when you hit the 3D map. So this is standard photogrammetry that we got with a low density point cloud. And in case you have different piles, also Amelia detects them individually. And once you hit one of those piles, you can see here, well, the area, the volume, and height. This is something you can download and fill it in Excel files. So it's quite useful for that daily work. In case you got those different piles, you can even select and place some ID or even more information. Even if you know exactly the density of those files, you can have the weight of those files too. So regarding ports, how is right now Port of Tarragona using this technology? In the case of Port of Tarragona, they were already trained and operating their own drones. So that's something that it's not very usual in Spain. Usually big ports, they used to hire third companies that use drone technology for flying into their facilities. But in case of Tarragona, they own different drones and they operate them. So for them, it's a great tool because they are just providing and getting good software analysis to be completely independent. So right now they are almost flying daily from Monday to Friday because of that invoicing that I said. So they use the software to get fast and precise data for invoicing customers. So with this solution, they have improved their control over stockpiles, and of course they have reduced costs of measuring and timings. Here you can see two pictures of the testing that we did. Right now, they are not using drone-in-a-box technologies, but the first time we went there, we showed them the box system operated by us, and we proved that it was working perfectly with Amelia. As you can see, it's a Heisha D80 with a Mavic 3E, Flight Now software, and Amelia for data analysis. So that's how the space looks like when we did the testing. So what are right now the next steps that we will be implementing in Amelia with ports technology? So first of all, we will be adding some vehicle surface measuring. At least in Spain, there are a lot of ports in which we got boats with lots of vehicles, and they place those vehicles in big surfaces. And ports are invoicing customers regarding the area that they are using. So it's very easy to fly the drone, to hit that data onto Amelia, and then to get those surface area. That's one thing. And then also container accounting. That's something it's quite important. So we tested both things with Amelia. For example, here you can see like a simple surface where there are lots of vehicles placed. We just created a region of interest, and then we got the surface of all of those. We need to, of course, improve that and get more accurate data, but right now it is working. The same thing with containers. So we are actually onto different research and development projects together with the Port of Tarragona to search for some funding and keep on going with the software development. So as a summary, a conclusion of what I said, we can say that automation with drones and software is plenty of opportunities, and ports is an example of a market niche, but there are a lot of unexplored new businesses. So together, I would say that drone and box systems are the ideal hardware for repetitive work in closed range areas. However, we are still facing lots of problems, at least for a legal implementation and let's say a consequent democratization of those systems. So that's my presentation. I'll be glad to answer your questions if you have them. You're mute, Pinac.
Thanks a lot for highlighting that. But no, thanks a lot, David. I'm pretty sure I got to learn a lot about port logistics, right? I was working with a couple of customers around the world, right? And I'm pretty sure I have a better knowledge in terms of domain, right? What are the challenges that they are facing in? And I'm pretty sure that's what also audience would have loved about it. Okay. And I can see there are a couple of questions coming in, and let's maybe wait for a couple of seconds and open this round for our audience to drop their questions in the chat sections of the session tab. Maybe meanwhile the audience is dropping those questions, David. Obviously, we had a nice two amazing polls. Obviously, like one is, are you guys starting looking for to adopt drone in a box systems, right? The other was about what are the main challenges. So what, from your perspective, what do you think? I'm pretty sure regulation is one. In Europe, it's very difficult. That is something we are coming up. But what are the other challenges that are in, or kind of while deploying those kind of DIB solutions in an enterprise port? So maybe if you want to shed some light on that.
Well, yeah, of course, regulation, that's one of the first. And then, ports are quite extended areas. So if you're operating in an A3 area, usually if you do not have any BEV loss accreditation, then you will no longer fly more than 500 meters radius. So that's quite a closed area. So that's one of the things that should be, maybe, I don't know, maybe a VTOL system in a drone in a box should be an option for ports, because they're usually big places. Yes. At least Barcelona, for example, you have like 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers from side to side of the port, so it's a huge space. So usually with a standard drone, or you may face or have different drone in a box solutions, or you have a different drone on it to cover more space. That could be a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree on that. Like VTOL would obviously help us in covering large area in a smaller time in just one flight. So I think there is one question from Nigel. He's saying, is the objective to count the number of containers? I think it's a half of the question. Maybe he wants to know what is the objective to count the number of containers. Like, what is the end goal behind this?
Yeah, actually, what we will provide is you just create that region of interest, and then within that region of interest, you will know the area that all containers are being
Not sure.
placed. And then if you have more containers on top, you will get the number of containers, because actually there are like two sizes of containers, 20 and 40 feet. So the software will autonomously detect whether it's 20 or 14 or 40, and then you will get the accounting. So number of containers, area occupied,
Right.
and that's it.
Maybe David, it may also help in space optimization of that particular port because you are able to scan the area, right?
Mhm.
This could be one of the use case. I hope.
Exactly. Yeah, depending on the ports and how are using them. Imagine that you have a private company that's operating in a port. They might be willing to know how to place the containers in a
Right.
better way in order to avoid paying taxes. That could be a mission that Amelia could provide for. But that's what I mean, we are not into the ports business. We're more into drone technology. So
Yes.
that's why we try to ask our customers what do they need to fill their needs and make them hire our services. That's what we want to do.
Right. Maybe like a follow-up question, like when you said obviously you are working on a drone technology, not on a port business, right? So what kind of other use case that Amelia software can be utilized, where it can be utilized for?
So right now, apart from that steel company that we work with and ports, we are talking a lot with mining companies,
Right.
because they are facing a lot of problems, and usually they are used to fly at least 3-4 times a year with standard drones. They get their topography, and they do a lot of volume controls. But that's quite challenging because I would say it's easy to get that volume detection with a flat surface, but when you're in mining, you got an irregular surface, and that's a little bit more challenging. So basically what we are developing right now is we will compare two flights. So we do a flight day 1 and flight day 2, and then the software, what it does is you compare one with another, and you get the places where you remove that surface, and you get those volumes in cubic meters. So you can
Right.
compare one with another, and that's what we are implementing. That's a little bit more complex, but
Yes.
it's working more or less right now.
Like a change detection of that particular side, right? Each
Exactly.
and every. Makes
Correct.
sense. So there was one more, like I would say just two of them more. So when we talked about post processing, right? So can you also highlight what, like how much time does it takes to post process that particular site, or is it done instantly, or
Well, no, we are using different servers. Of course, it depends a lot on the servers that you're using. If you have powerful, then that's going to take, and of course, the number of pictures that you have taken. For example, for a standard area, it takes usually around 15 to 20 minutes to get the photogrammetry fly, and then once you just select the ROI, the region of
right?
interest, it's quite fast. I would say within minutes or even less, you get that analysis. So it's quite fast. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, so I think there is one more question along it because we talked about drone in a box solution. So what kind of features would the end user would need, right, or expect from that docking station solution,
Mhm.
right, in order, which maybe Octocam or Amelia provides. Like apart from the standard, what kind of other things that is required to make sure, or for this to have this deployment done for these kind of applications, right?
Well, what we must work still with that is like to for example connect directly the drone box software fly control with
Right.
Amelia, so that you do not need to manually select those pictures and then upload that to the software. We want this to be a completely autonomous
Right.
feature, and that's something that we first need to fix the regulation to be able to sell those drone box systems. And once we know that this is doable, then we'll be looking after that and try to make it completely fully autonomous. So we want no pilots, we want no engineers to make it data analysis. We want everything to be autonomous, and
Right.
we just want the guys from the port to get the reports every morning with all the details and data that they want. That's the idea.
I can see a lot of questions coming out there, David. Maybe I would request audience. So we are already out of time, but the audience can head over to Octocam booth, and David would be available there if they need a one-on-one session or they need to know more about Octocam maps or Amelia software. People can head to the sessions booth and maybe talk with them. So now it's the time to end the session. I was thinking we can go a little longer, but I think it's already our time. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed and learned something new. And let us know how did you find these sessions or this session specifically. I'm already biased with David. So also we have one more kind of a news for everyone who is joining NestGen. We have also launched the NestGen community, an exclusive invite-only community, where all drone autonomy enthusiasts can will be joining and communicating. So please find the form in the chat section, and you can join the wait list. And further coming up, next few minutes, we have various interesting panel discussion lined up. Make sure to attend those. And with that, uh, we hope you have enjoyed a great NestGen experience. Looking forward to a couple of more sessions, team. Thank you, David. And it was nice to have you here. Thanks a lot. Thank you, team. Thank you, audience. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.